It's 11 p.m. It's the 4th of July, so if you can hear fireworks in the distance, sorry.
The thing about making your own intro music is that you have to be somewhat original, and that's just not me.
Hi, hey, I'm Morgan, and today I'm going to be doing the something. I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I've been doing this every single year since I started my channel. You guys know this tag. It's been around for like 3 or 4 years, I want to say. So there's 14 questions, and I'm going to leave the links for the creators' videos in the description. Question 1 is the best book you've read so far this year. I'm interpreting this as the best standalone book I've read. And for this one, I'm definitely going to say Sadie by Courtney Summers. So far, this has been just my absolute favorite book of the year. I listened to it on audiobook, and I fucking loved it. It was so gripping and so gritty and emotional and just great. It was just so good. I just can't get over it. Question 2 is the best sequel you've read so far this year. That's definitely got to go to Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. This was my first 5 out of 5 star book of the year. It's my favorite sequel that I've read so far, not counting my reread of the Raven cycle I'm currently doing. It was so good. The Arc of the Scythe series is slowly becoming one of my favorite series of all time. This book had an exceptional plot twist that I was not expecting at all, and it was just like chef's kiss. So good. Question 3 is a new release I haven't read yet, but I want to. Can I do 2? I have so goddamn many. So the first one, obviously, is Red, White, and Royal Blue. Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McKiston. McKeeston? I'm bad at names. So this has just been all over book Twitter and booktube. Everyone is absolutely adoring this book. I know I'm gonna love it. It is a male-male fake friendship till dating trope about the son of the first female president of the United States and like the Prince of Wales, right? Yeah. I know there's some political commentary and just gushy, beautiful things, and maybe a little bit of smut because I know it's a new adult book. So I can't wait to read this one. Also, another one that I'm really excited about is Waiting for Tom Hanks by Carrie Winfrey. I've heard this is supposed to be very funny, and it has like a scene at the Book Loft. In case I haven't mentioned it enough, the Book Loft is my favorite local bookstore here in Ohio. It is the only bookstore that I like fully patronize and support. So I had to support this author, and also the fact that my favorite place is featured in a romance book. So I'm excited for both of these. Question 4 is my most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Don't even have to mention Call on the Hawk or Ninth House or The Toll. I'm so goddamn excited for all of those. Like, one of them is wrapping up one of my favorite series. The second one is the beginning of a new series following my favorite literary character. And the other one is by one of my favorite authors of all time. And I can't wait. Like, I need them in my grubby little mitts right now. Question 5 is my biggest disappointment. And the way that I interpret this is like a book that I was super hyped about, and then I read it and it just fell flat for me. It doesn't mean that I absolutely abhor or hate this book. And unfortunately, this one definitely has to be, oh my god, What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. This was one of my most anticipated releases of last year because I adore Adam Silvera, and at that point I was still on the Becky Albertalli train, but I've started to recognize that her writing is just a little too sugary sweet for me. And I also find Becky Albertalli's representation of queer young boys and just queer people in general to be exceptionally problematic, especially because she's a straight woman. The only thing that redeemed this book for me was Adam Silvera's writing and his characters, because they felt fully dimensional and fleshed out and were not like just white stereotypical queer kids. I feel like Becky Albertalli really plays into the early 2000s like ignorant stereotype of what gay men were perceived to be, and makes that her characters. Like, that's how I felt about Arthur in this book. I felt like Arthur was super dramatic and over the top and made a big deal out of everything, and he also lived in vast privilege, and he said some really problematic and racist things without ever being fully challenged for those things. I just wasn't super down with that, and I wanted this book to be everything. Like, I was so excited for it because I really enjoy Adam's work and I really liked Simon Versus. These two didn't come together the way that I wanted them to. I felt like they were butting heads the entire way. Like the book felt very conflicting when I was reading it. Question 6 is biggest surprise, and I kind of flipped this to be like the opposite of biggest disappointment. This question I interpret as a book that I went into with lower expectations and then was pleasantly met with like a book that I thoroughly enjoyed. I typically don't read a book if I think I'm going to not enjoy it. Like why would I do that? What comes to mind first when I think of this question is Watch Us Rise by Renee Watson and Ellen Hagen. I haven't read anything by either of these characters, and I was expecting it to be kind of like surface level story about two girls running a feminist blog, but it was so much deeper than I was anticipating, and it really talked about like intersectionalism and white feminism and how when you're an activist, you're not always the perfect activist. When you're an ally and when you're an activist, you're always in the state of improving yourself and being challenged on your activism and growing from that. And it was such a beautiful thing to read, and I absolutely adored this book. Collaborative works are always a hit or miss for me, so I think I was wary about this one, but I adored it. Question 7 is my favorite new author, whether it be debut or new to me. Y'all know I love my poetry, and this isn't new to me in the sense they're brand new. Like I've seen them do performative poetry, but I have never read their book, and that is Depression, Other Magic Tricks by Sabrina Benaim. I've seen Sabrina Benaim's spoken word poetry and slam pieces that she's done, and I really enjoyed them, and this is her first book, and I absolutely adored it. I've been wanting to read it for a long time, like years, and I'm so glad I finally did. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of my favorite poetry collections. It talks a lot about love and depression and accepting yourself and your brain not always being in your corner and how to take care of yourself even when your brain is telling you to do the opposite. It was just phenomenal, and this poetry was just so great, and I highlighted a ton of it, and I was like sitting in Stoff's drinking a lavender chai, bawling my eyes out reading this book. It was so good. This was phenomenal, and I'm so glad to finally have read it and experienced the entirety of her writing, because spoken word and like written word are two very different things, and she's such a well-rounded poet, and this proved it 100%. Question 8 is newest fictional crush. I just don't answer this question very often, and I'm pretty sure the last time I did this tag I said Gansey. I literally have not fallen in love with a character the way that I fell in love with Gansey. I'm sorry. I love Gansey. I think that he is such a goddamn dweeb, and he's so sweet, and I just, every time Gansey does anything short of exist, I just like get really giddy. I just adore him, and I don't think I'll love a man the way that I love Richard Campbell Gansey III for a very long time, but I don't have a new fictional crush. I just am Gansey's bitch. Like, number one, Gansey's like hollaback girl. Question 9 is newest favorite character. It's a little weird. I think I'm gonna say the Thunderhead from Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, because Thunderhead was kind of prevalent in Scythe, but not at all in the way that it is in Thunderhead in the sequel. The way that Thunderhead narrates the chapter headers before the next chapter begins is so poignant and just gave me chills every single time, and everything that Thunderhead had to say like left me fucking riveted. I can't wait to see the role that the Thunderhead plays in the final book in this trilogy. I have the window open and it smells like fireworks, and it just makes me really happy. It's like my favorite summer scent. Question 10 is a book that made you cry. So I've already mentioned that Depression, Other Magic Tricks made me cry, and like it goes without saying that my reread of The Raven Cycle forever makes me cry, but I'm trying to exclude The Raven Cycle from these and have like fresh new answers, because I answered The Raven Cycle for a lot of questions in last year's tag. So I'm gonna be real honest. So I started middle game yesterday. I'm on page 30 and I've already fucking cried. What the fuck? Question 11 is a book that made me happy. A book that I thoroughly enjoyed so far this year was New Erotica for Feminists. So these are like satirical fantasies of love and lust for like modern feminists. They were so goofy. I loved this book. It was like not even 100 pages. It was satire, but it also talked a lot about the wage gap and the glass ceiling and rape culture and slut shaming and just what modern feminism like is, and it was just such a fun take and I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. Question 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought or received so far this year. So like, obviously I'm obsessed with the middle game cover. I also really like the cover for this Awayland Stories book, like this spine. Look at this, if my camera will focus. Like, that spine is so pretty. There's just something really simple about this cover that I just adore. Question 13 is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Some ones that are backlisted that I really want to read. I really want to read The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I really need to read The Hate U Give and On the Come Up. I haven't read either of those. Who the fuck am I? I need to reread Looking for Alaska before the Hulu show comes out. So those are some backlisted books that I'm prioritizing for the end of the year. And then like new releases, obviously Middle Game is happening. It's already begun. And then my most anticipated releases. Ooh, one more. They Can't Kill Us Till They Kill Us by Hanif Abdurraqib. I need to read this book. This book is most certainly happening before the end of the year. I've had my eye on it for a really long time. It's published by a local house here in Columbus. Yada, 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 yada. The final question in this tag is your favorite book community member. That is so hard for me. So I am just gonna list off just a couple of my pals in this community that I adore and love with my entire heart. The first one I'm going to mention is Bella over at the Bookish Badger. She is like a fellow Hufflepuff. She is so kind and sincere and she just adores everybody and is such a supportive person in this community, and she's so loving and welcoming and warm. Her content is always really fun. She does a lot of videos with her brother Q, who's also a booktuber, Professor Q's College of Books, and I'll leave all of the links for the booktubers I mentioned in the description. Duh. They're both such a phenomenal dynamic. Getting to see them in New York was incredible. They're so fun and funny, and just who they are in their videos is so representative of their personalities, and they're just gems. Someone else that I feel needs no like introduction, but like Rhiannon over at Crescent Moon Reads. Rhiannon was my first friend that I made through BookTube. They really introduced me to the fact that this community is a community, and they are someone that I am so blessed to have in my life and call a friend, and I just adore them with every fiber of my being. They have such a well-rounded like channel of content. They don't just talk about books, they do talks about like queer culture, and they have like really in-depth discussion videos about everything under the sun, and they're just such an incredibly important member of this community. They always know what to say in terms of challenging this community to be better. And that's super important for us to be able to grow. We need to acknowledge when we're falling short and when we're not doing our best. And they keep us so in check with that. And just like, we need that. We absolutely need that. And we need Rhiannon, and they are the cream of the crop. I'm gonna mention two more. 5 is good, right? Next, I am going to talk about Jess over at Jess Reads Books. I'm a little biased towards Jess because she lives like 10 minutes from me and I can get coffee and hang out with her, and I just think she's a gem. But her content is so goddamn incredible, and seeing her like get the recognition as a content creator that she like deserves and has worked so hard for makes me so happy. I adore Jess. She is just so great, and she just means the world to me. She's so calm and delightful, and she always is so transparent about where she is with her mental health and how that corresponds with her content creation, and she always has amazing discussions about her mental health and her experiences, and her videos are so chill. It's like you're just sitting in the room talking with her. As someone who has hung out with her, how she is in her videos is exactly how she is when you see her in person. She's just incredible. She is the bee's knees. She is a light in my life, and I love her so much. The last one I'm going to talk about, y'all know who she is. My fellow destroyed hair slime queen, Natasha, over at My Reading is Odd. This woman, I love her so much. Jeff, Ian, and I went and got rainbow bagels, and we just became like this power quartet. And it just was like one of the highlights of my trip to New York. I absolutely loved getting to spend time with them, like even just seeing them at the Javits Center or the BookTube meetup or bar night, and then bagels. Like, it was just such a highlight. Natasha is such a chill person. I think that a lot of the time we can stunt ourselves in making friends in this community because we feel like there's some sort of hierarchical system based on subscriber count, and that is such bullshit. But I know that's a way that some people can feel, and that's a way that I used to feel for some reason, but that's because I was wildly insecure. Natasha is someone who doesn't care if you have like 1 million subscribers or if you don't even do booktube or if you have 1 subscriber. Like, Natasha sees you as a person and treats people like people. She always has some amazing content and she always has some cool things to say in her videos. Her hair always looks dope. Her lipstick is always on point. She is so funny and so sincere and so amazing and just a gem. I could go on for 84 years, and if I don't stop myself now, I will. That was my 2019 edition of the mid-year book Freakout tag. If you guys do this tag, please let me know because I want to go watch them. It's my favorite thing to watch this time of year. I love seeing where everybody is in their reading and what everyone is enjoying and not enjoying, and I just love to see all your fucking faces. Oh, we also talk about that everyone on booktube is a whole ass snack. Why do I have a crush on every person on booktube? Y'all got no right to all be so cute. If you like this video, you can leave it a thumbs up. Please leave me comments because talking to you guys is my absolute favorite thing. And if you want to see more of my content and more of my mug, you are more than welcome to subscribe. I upload pretty frequently every so often. And like I said, my name is Morgan. This is MorgyyReads. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and happy reading. Okay, bye!